9, 8.
Good evening. The Rancho Public Schools Board of Education meeting for Monday, March 9th, 2026 is now called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Board member Rebecca Murray will lead us.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
JC, will you take a roll call for us, please?
President Galbraith,
Present.
Vice President Mueller,
Present.
Secretary Miller, Board Member Murray,
Present.
Board Member Barry.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much, JC. We want to welcome everyone here. I know we have a couple of wrestling teams here, which we're really excited to see. I can see some great people from the community here as well. Also on our meeting tonight, we want to give a warm welcome to Dr. Dodd, who will soon, you can stand, you can say hi if you want to Dr. Dodd, if you want to. He'll be. In just a couple of weeks, he'll be up here with us, and we are really grateful that he's here with us this evening. We'd like to excuse Dr. Elizabeth Miller. As we get into the meeting, we'll talk more about that, but due to some health concerns, she needed to resign, and she wishes she could be here with us, but as we get through the agenda, we'll have more on that. And so we'll go ahead and start our evening tonight with some introductory comments by our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Visu Cleveland.
Okay, good evening. To change my glasses, so here it is. So, okay, thank you all for being here, and we are delighted you were with us this evening. We had, prior to this meeting, we had a board workshop, and the topic of that workshop was Integrated Arts Elementary Schools. And the presentation was given by Dr. Kurt Schmidt, our Executive Director of Fine Arts, and Jana Chenault, our Elementary School Improvement Officer, as well as the principals and some of the staff at both Sandia Vista and Enchanted Hills Elementary. And the purpose was to help the board understand what integrated arts curriculum program looks like, what it is and what it's not. And we were really very pleased to have some students with us and a good number of parents earlier. As the schools move next year into implementation, this workshop provided information about the program, some of the professional development that's been done with staff, and some of our partnerships. And those partnerships are not new. We have a long-standing partnership with the National Dance Institute, the Santa Fe Opera, and the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. And we have had a tremendous amount of successes with the program, but honestly, there have been some challenges as you move into something that is new. And then I talked a little bit about what future training would look like and what are some of the additional resources that will be needed as we move into full implementation. An integral part of the program is Acting Right, and it's a behavioral program that was developed by Sean Lane. And we really continue to be excited about the potential of this program based on some of the data that we have received from a similar Denver area school. We have visited and had an opportunity not only to talk with staff there, but also with parents and with students and members of their community. And here's just some photos of some of the things that are being done in the program. It is not, as stressed, it is not a curriculum. It is a way of delivering that curriculum, a little bit different format with more activity, more student movement, more opportunities for students to talk and participate, and an emphasis on controlling your behavior to enhance student learning. Next week is an important week for the district and across the state. The New Mexico Association of School Business Officials and the Public Education Department co-sponsored the Spring Budget Workshop, and it will take place next week, March 18th through the 20th. This meeting will provide detailed information about the 2026-2027 operational budget. That's when we get information about the unit value and what that will look like for the state equalization guarantee for each school district in New Mexico. And we'll be having several of our staff members attend in order to cover all of the required sessions. And there are a lot of sessions. Some of them are very highly specialized. For example, there's generally a session on federal programs and federal funding. There are programs on how, if you're your first time to do a budget, what are the things you should look at. It's just a wide variety of opportunities for professional learning. We have some commendations this evening. The presentation will be made by Todd Resch, our Executive Director of Athletics. Our Cleveland Storm has recently brought home 2 new state championships. The first is the CHS girls wrestling team, coached by Macario Borrego, and the second is the CHS boys wrestling team, coached by Evan Copeland. Wrestling, for those of you who are interested in the sport and perhaps know students, friends, family that participate, wrestling is an extremely competitive sport in the state of New Mexico, and to bring home 2 state championships is really an incredible feat. And so we congratulate both of the teams, and they will be here this evening during commendations a little bit later. And there's pictures of the two championship teams. And then we have some reports this evening. One of the reports is on Independence High School. Renee Salcedo, our Secondary School Improvement Officer, will introduce the presentation. And then Jessica Sanchez, the principal of Independence, will share some very timely and vital information with the board regarding Independence. Some of the topics that will be presented this evening include the uniqueness of the school, and it is a very special school, and it serves a very special mission in our district. School designations and why they are particularly challenging for every alternative school in New Mexico, including Independence. Some of the strategic efforts that are currently underway at the school site, and then some of their successes and some of their results. We have, we'll talk a little bit about this evening, Rio Rancho Public Schools Advanced Placement Program. And I've said on more than one occasion, if you want a strong district, you really absolutely must have a strong advanced placement program. And we do have a good program. Like almost everybody, we struggled a little bit with advanced placement through the pandemic, and then trying to get back up and going again. Took some extra effort and initiative. So share some of the information about our advanced placement program, including some new opportunities for students next year. The presenters for the presentation this evening will be Dr. Stephanie Belmore, our Executive Director for Secondary CNI, Amanda Bader, District Coordinator for Advanced Placement for the district, Betty Shepman, who coordinates those efforts at Rio Rancho High School, Stacy Salinas, a site coordinator for Cleveland, and Julie Arnold, who functions in that role as well as, of course, being the principal of the Rio Rancho Cyber Academy. And it will include an overview of our program, including the courses that we are currently offering as advanced placement courses. And they'll share with you 3 new courses. And they will also share a little bit with you about some of the training opportunities and some of the things that staff have who sign up to teach advanced placement courses. As I said, during the pandemic, we did have some challenges, but we've had a lot of progress since 2021. And they will also share information about AP research on student success, as well as the Rio Rancho Public School Honor Roll results for 2025 for AP, not to be confused with our honor roll. We'll have an update on facilities. Patrick Martinez, our Executive Director of Facilities, will provide an update, and his presentation will address the overview of their department, project management, the Trimble Unity construct, current projects, and then he will talk with the board about about some of the bond projects at Rio Tech, Independence, Cleveland, Rio Rancho High School, and Lincoln Middle School. And then we have an invitation to bid for the board to consider this evening. Chris Tweet, Director of Purchasing and our Chief Procurement Officer for the district, will be presenting for the board's consideration an award of an invitation to bid on number 2026-14 for facilities for concrete and for CMU block wall. And this is a contractor on demand. And so there were 5 responsive bidders, and the evaluation committee recommended an award to multiple contractors, and based on several factors. And Mr. Tweet will share that information with you. And I've already had one call about some questions, and I think you'll be able to answer those for you this evening. And thank you for letting us know. When you have questions and something you really want to know, like to have by the board meeting, if you'll get that to us, we'll try very hard to incorporate it into the presentation we have that evening. And then the last is our board position vacancy. We have received a resignation letter from board member Dr. Beth Miller for health reasons. And we really want to thank her for her service to the board and wish her a very strong recovery. Dr. Miller has been working unofficially with the district for many years and came onto the board a few years ago. She's been such an asset to the board, bringing her experiences in higher education and her work on enhancing student literacy in the community. She was very involved for many years in Rotary, and several of the literacy initiatives, she was an integral part of those, and has worked in some other organizations in the community to promote student literacy. She was the one who opened the UNM campus in Rio Rancho, and then previously she held the same position of executive director at UNM Gallup. We will miss her thoughtful collaboration with others and her insightful questions on agenda items. We'll just miss her personally and wish her well. President Galbraith will lead the discussion on the process to be followed for selecting a new board member. And this process must adhere to some of the state guidelines that are in place for replacing an individual when there's a board vacancy. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns that you'd like to raise?
On the board.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Cleveland. Appreciate it. If you're wondering, we're all staring up at our screen up here too. Our screens on our table aren't working. So if you see us looking up, we're not just looking at the ceiling. So thank you. We'll go now to approve the prioritized agenda and proposed time allocations.
Board Member Barry, approve prioritized agenda and proposed time allocations.
Board Member Mueller, second the motion.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, we'll start with our commendations for tonight. We'd like to invite Todd Resch to come on up to the podium and whoever he wants to have come up with him. And we're going to talk about our 2 wonderful Cleveland High School wrestling teams, both the girls and the boys team and their state championship. So. We already have a scooter. It's a good thing that it's over.
Okay. On. Well, good evening, President Galbraith, Superintendent Cleveland, members of the board. Tonight, we recognize 2 very special teams. It is my honor to recognize and congratulate the Cleveland High School boys and girls wrestling programs for their outstanding achievements at last month's NMAA State Wrestling Tournament, where both teams captured the state championship. The Cleveland High School girls wrestling team, under the leadership of head coach Macario Borrego, delivered a historic performance at the state tournament. The team set new records for the most finalists and the most individual state champions, while also surpassing the program's previous state tournament scoring record by 21 points. This achievement reflects the hard work, determination, and commitment of the student athletes and coaching staff while continuing to raise the standard for girls wrestling across New Mexico. The Cleveland High School boys wrestling team, led by head coach Evan Copeland, also reached a remarkable milestone in securing the 5A state championship. The team set a 5A state record with 14 wrestlers placing in the top 4, along with a record 11 finalists. An accumulated extraordinary state tournament record of 317 team points. Their performance showcased exceptional depth, skill, and teamwork throughout the competition. These accomplishments are a testament to the dedication of the student athletes, coaches, families, and the entire Cleveland High School community. Tonight, we proudly commend and congratulate the Cleveland High School boys and girls wrestling teams and their coaches for representing their school and the Rio Rancho Public Schools community with pride, perseverance, and excellence through these historic championship performances. What I'd like to do now is introduce both head coaches, the girls' head coach, Mr. Macario Borrego, and the boys' head coach, Mr. Evan Copeland.
Oh, good evening. It's been great to have the opportunity to come back here and stand in front of the board for the last 3 years. Again, just as always, want to say thank you to Mr. Resch. Ever since he stepped into the athletic director position for the district, we've seen a huge increase in support, and just by him, Matt Martinez, and our administration there at Cleveland High School, they've shown us a lot of support, and with that, we've been able to do some pretty great things throughout the season. We have the opportunity to travel and provide a lot of opportunities to these student athletes. So very grateful for the opportunity to work here, and we look forward to more success in the future. So thank you.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you to the school board for everything that they provided us. All of our administrators, Mr. Resch, Mr. Martinez, Mr. Affentranger. We couldn't be in a better system for support. Cleveland Wrestling is well known not only throughout the state, but we have the opportunity to travel, and we go all over the country, and Cleveland Wrestling has a very strong name no matter where we go. So people always ask, you're from Ohio? And we say, no, we're from Rio Rancho, New Mexico. So we're very proud to represent Cleveland High School and the Rio Rancho Public Schools wherever we go. So thank you again. We're very proud of these young men, these young ladies, and we'll continue to work hard and hopefully make everybody proud. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys make us so proud. We're going to clap for you again, and then we'll clap again. All right, you guys don't have to do this, but for sake of time, I can't have all of you talk, but maybe there's one girl and maybe there's one boy who might have words that they might want to say about a little bit about your guys' experience. But you weren't told this in advance. So if all of you were like, no way, we do not want to talk. All right, how about, I'm going to start with the girls. Any one girl that wants to say anything? You don't have to. There we go. I know. We just love to hear a little bit about your experience, or you can just speak on behalf of the team, and you can even say something about your coaches, if you want to.
Well, I'm a senior, and I've been wrestling for this program for 5 years, since my 8th grade year. And I do love the coach so much. I love Mac. He's a good coach. And I love that we get to travel because it gives us really good opportunities, and it makes us better by wrestling better people out of state. And the program's just great. I love it. We have great people, great coaches, and they just make us better people.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. All right, boys. I could see all your faces are like, oh, I should have let the boys go first. Huh? Go ahead.
My name is Jonathan Schmidt. I'm a senior, and I've been with this program for 4 years, not including back in 2017. And I feel personally this is a really hardworking and dedicated team. I feel even through the thicks and thins, they always come back. They always come back into the room, and they always train hard. And I like to say thank you to the coaches because, to be honest, I couldn't have done anything without the coaches. There will be no program without them. And I've known Coach Copeland for forever. and he's been a real big influence in my life. And I feel like I'm gonna be a better person in the future because of him. Just thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for sharing that. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, do you want to pick? Yeah, 1 second. So I just want to say thank you for coming in. And you guys, it takes a lot of time and dedication and being really good with your bodies and all of those things to be able to be good at your sport. And so I hope that you take that with you. How many of you guys are seniors? How many? I know a couple of you. Gosh. Okay. So we still got a good group. We still got a good group for next year, it looks like. But keep those things that you have learned, those things that your coaches have taught you. Try to hold on to those things and be good to your bodies and good to your minds as you continue on. But great job. I'm going to give, if the board has anything that they want to say, I'll just give them a quick moment if they would like to, and then Dr. Cleveland can close us. But
Nothing, just fantastic job.
yeah, there you go.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Understood.
Congratulations, Go Storm.
Go Storm! And then Dr. Cleveland, go ahead.
It's an awesome job to bring home 2 state championships, and congratulations to all of you. Congratulations to the coaches for all of the time and effort you put in. I know we're tight on time. I'm going to share one really quick story. There's a businessman. He's deceased now, but you're probably familiar with the name. His name was Don Chalmers. He owned the dealership here, the Ford dealership. But in addition to that, he was president of the Albuquerque Chamber and the Rio Rancho Chamber and of the Board of Regents at UNM. And someone asked him one time what he was most proud of, and he said, I was a championship wrestler. He wrestled for Oklahoma State University. And he said, you know what? After you wrestle, everything else in life is easy. And I'm sure that's not true. But he was stressing what it takes to be a championship wrestler, and you have all demonstrated that. So again, congratulations to all of you. We're so proud for you, and thank you for coming. Thank you.
All right. I always love having students in the boardroom. It's the best. So, okay. I will now go into our reports for the evening. We'll start with our first one, which is on Independence High School. And Renee Saucedo, our secondary school improvement officer, will be presenting this. Oh, and Jessica Sanchez, too, who I owe a huge apology for not going to your graduation. I'm so sorry. I still, nightmares.
Madam President Galbraith, Dr. Cleveland, members of the board, I'd like to introduce Jessica Sanchez, principal of Independence High School. She's here to just let you guys know a little bit more about Independence. We really appreciate the new board members that came by and toured the school, so you know what it looks like. But Jessica is going to introduce some of the things, and I'll just kind of step in here and there. So, Jessica.
Good evening. I too want to thank you all for taking time out of your day to come visit a couple of weeks ago. It meant a lot to the kids. We said, we've never seen a board members here at the school before. I don't recall that. And I said, because you guys are special. So you made them feel some kind of way. So I appreciate that. I can't speak enough about the Independence High School. I feel like I tell people I'm a little bit on overload in terms of bragging about this school because I love it so much. But I want to talk to, for those of you who aren't familiar with Independence High School, just a little overview of what we are and what we do. We're an alternative setting designed to meet the needs of students who thrive in smaller and more personalized learning environments. Students entering IHS are not on track to graduate for a variety of reasons. They are behind in credits. We typically get them junior, senior year, and we welcome them with open arms. Our goal is that building doesn't echo with stress, but with second chances. And I think we came up with that together. And I said, yes, that captures what we do. I've talked about rebranding the school, and I'd like to focus on not what brought them there, but the strides that we're making. And I'm really proud of that. Instead of a larger typical classes, learning happens in small groups. Teachers know your story. We know every student that walks through that door. We welcome them every morning. And the teachers aren't just there as instructors. They're coaches, they're mentors. They mean a lot to these kids. And if you talk to them, they'll tell you as much. So going into where we are in terms of school designations, I don't know if you want to speak to this a little, and then I can talk about where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, so we're bringing this topic up, and you'll see why. We have to explain why IHS is where it is as far as school designations go. So this slide basically just gives you a list of the designations. Spotlight is the highest level, and the majority of our schools in the district are in this Spotlight category. We go Spotlight, traditional, and then if you need some support, there's specific parameters around how they classify the schools. Independence High School was in the Comprehensive Support and Improvement, CSI, for 3 years. At the high school level, what they look at to put you at these different in these different categories are your graduation rate. And that's what they look at. That's it. You have to have an average of 67% graduation over 3 years to be able to get out of the categories. So they were in CSI, comprehensive support, for 3 years. When they didn't reach that average of 67%, they moved to MRI, which is more rigorous interventions. And they've been in that category for 3 years. So because we've been in that category for 3 years, we're going to talk about some of the things that Jessica and her staff have been doing over these last 3 years. However, I think that it's important to mention, and we talked about this with the visit, the students are coming into Independence, they're not on track to graduate. So to have a graduation rate at the 4 year, at 4 years above 67% is practically impossible. Now they have done some things that I thought were impossible. I didn't think that they would get to 60%, and Jessica will tell you they're higher than that. So they are doing already what I thought was going to be extremely hard to do. I have no doubt that they'll be able to move out, but Jessica's going to talk a little bit about what they're doing and where they're at.
So going into, for the last 3 years, we've spent a lot of time, it's everything from grant writing, working directly with the PED, coming up with strategic plans and what it is we're wanting to do. We've looked at, for example, teacher and instructional staff. We've partnered with Coaching for Excellence, and that was one of the grants that we wrote to help come in and work with teachers individually to raise that standard so these kids are getting the best of the best. We find that a lot of these kids coming in here, again, brought them here for a reason. We do find a lot of that is can revolve around mental health, and we have written another grant for student well-being. So we have mental health services on our campus that are outside of the school counselor. They come there just for therapy services for the kids. That's been huge for some of these kids because they would not get that otherwise. We're expanding our elective options, so we're addressing that engagement. Sometimes it's the art class that brings the kid to school, and while we have them there, we teach them a little math and English. Increased academic support. We do before and after school programs. We're doing Saturday schools. We're looking to implement more Saturday schools. So we're there from 9 to 12. And believe it or not, it's well attended. You wouldn't think we get the kids there on a Saturday morning, but we do. And of course, we partnered with the PED, New Mexico PED, and the Priority Schools Partnership, and we work to make strides. They help us. I meet with them personally 3 times a year and probably speak with them, and we consult at least 6 times in total. And if you look at here, okay, yeah, go.
This morning, Dr. Dodd and I and the administration went over and went through the school, and Dr. Dodd talked to some students. And one of the young ladies said, "I just wish we could have more Saturday school." So it really is helpful for them.
So what we know is all we can go is we feel like we're doing all the right things, right? But it's not until the data comes out that reaffirms that we're going in the right direction. And if you look, we have gone. Oh, I'll look down here because I can't see. we're making great strides. Now we're behind a year, so we don't even have the data for this year. We won't have that until next year. But we went from 50% up to 58.5%. We then grew this, we just got our scores at 63.7. I'm going to round that to 64. I literally, I think I called you or said something. It brought tears to my eyes because we work so hard and we're so dedicated, but we really, until we get the data, we don't know if what we're doing is making a difference. And this is proof that it's working. And I believe that although I don't agree with the formula and it is what it is, we have to work within those parameters. I do believe we're going to get there. We just need more time. And so, so that's what if you go to the next one, you'll see our 5th year graduation rate is 83%, which is huge. So very proud of the growth and the trajectory. We're going to a good place there.
I love that Jessica says, if you would look at our 5th year graduation rate, we would be a spotlight school. And it's true.
I want to focus on that kind of stuff. Next steps, NMPED will release significant restructure and redesign, restart, and closure applications in March for schools identified as MRI due to low graduation rates to determine the appropriate path forward for the 26-27 school year. And we're talking about what those next steps will look like. I will be attending the spring budget and we'll get the application and I'll have a better idea of what we need to do and work from there. I will tell you that before we even get that, we are meeting constantly in a proactive approach for the restructuring and coming up with some ideas of what we can do. I want to get ahead of it. So that's kind of where we're at. So we stand for any questions.
First, I have to say, so over the years since I've been on the board for 6 years now, that's kind of crazy. But I've had the opportunity to talk to different parents whose students have gone to Independence, and over again, just gratitude for such a good program and for students. And there's so many different aspects. One student she got into a horrible car accident and was not able to graduate, in her normal comprehensive high school because of that. But she didn't think that it was even going to be possible for her to graduate, and they were able to get her through and she was able to graduate. And then you have just other students who are just struggling, with various different things. And I would rather see a 5th year graduation rate at like 83% than some kid that we just kind of like pushed, through. And so when you sit in those graduations, which you'll have the opportunity to do here in a month or so, a couple months, is your teachers care so much for these students, and it really is just this family, and just so just everyone just really just caring for these students, and they feel that, and that I think is why they're able to get through, and your administrative staff as well. So I just wanted to add that to those things that it's just I'm so grateful for the program. I really want us to be able to just continue it the way that we're doing it. Don't get in our way. Like, we have good things that are coming, and so you're doing a great job there. Dr. Cleveland, is there anything you want to add, and then I can go for additional questions from the board?
A couple of things. If you go back to the graph, in those years, in the early years, we were only, I believe, accepting seniors at that point in time, and so that's part of what explains some of those scores then. But I want you to know we have students who show up at the doorstep. I am 17 years old. I have 5 credits. Will you take me? Well, it's not hard to figure out if you are that age with 5 credits, you're probably not going to get through on that 4-year cohort. One of the things that I don't understand, and not just, several of us have raised, but particularly superintendents in our state who have worked in other states, many other states have 5-year cohorts for all alternative schools. And New Mexico didn't submit their plan that way. And I don't know why. I don't know what the rationale was. But on a 5-year, we would make it. And the alternative is to, when these students show up that are really behind, would be to say, no, we can't take you because we won't finish. And that's going to count against us. We don't do that. We take everybody who shows up and wants to get a high school diploma. Excuse me, I have allergies terribly. We take them. And so I think that should be the policy. I think that should be our practice, to welcome any young person who shows up that really wants a high school diploma. By golly, we're going to try to help you do that. They have done an amazing job in Independence and continue to work to move that. Or even looking at maybe the possibility of letting some students in a little bit earlier, where they would have more time to get those credits. But the other option is just passing out credits, and they don't do that. The students who earn the credits there, they earn the credits, they get what they need to have out of those classes, and it's better that they take 5 years. I remember, I think you told me last year, we had one that finished up at like 23 or something and had just had to work at it a little bit all along. Well, that's not ideal, but it's sure better than not finishing that high school diploma. And so I just want to really support what's been said about the commitment and just the desire to see the students go through and graduate. I had a letter that was sent to me by the Registrar of Independence from a former student, and she just wanted us to know what her life looked like today. I was so glad you shared that. She had served in the United States military in the Navy. She was a nurse. She was working on her nurse practitioner certification, a mom of 5. And she said, I would have never made it had it not been for Independence. All these years later, she writes that letter back to the school. So it really does impact lives and opens the door for students that if forced to go back to a traditional campus for whatever reason, are probably not going to finish. And so I just want to applaud the great job you do and the impact that you have on so many student lives. And the last comment is that if you go to graduations, one that always is a bit of a tearjerker, at least for me, is hearing some of the challenges that some of these young people have faced in life already, and overcoming those challenges and getting through and getting that diploma. So we think Independence is an important, very important component in providing opportunities and special pathways for students who have really need of that help and support and who step up and take advantage of it. So thank you for your presentation, and thank you for the hard work that you do on behalf of your students.
Thank you. Do you have any questions, comments?
Thank you. Appreciate it. And when you get the new one, we're going to take another tour. So
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Oh, Michael.
I just want to say we were all delighted to come visit. It was awesome. And I think programs, they live or die if there's good leaders involved. And I think you're a good leader in that program. So I think they did a good job picking you and putting you in the right place. You've probably told me what is CSI? What does that what happens to us when we're on that CSI designation? You mentioned briefly the restructuring that PD will.
So PED comes in and they'll look at our dash plans, everything that they're doing to try to get themselves out of that designation. So when you're in CSI for 3 years, and if you're not successful, then you move to MRI, which is more rigorous interventions. So then Jessica meets with them every 3 months. A group come down. They look at all of their data. They look at what they're doing. They walk around. They see the teachers teaching. It's a 3 to 4 hour visit. And they're just basically, well, what have you done here? What data do you have that shows us that made a difference? What have you done? It's very in-depth and it takes a lot of preparation. So she does that 3 or 4 times every quarter, I guess. So 4 times a year. So then she did that for 3 years and we didn't get out. So now we have 3 choices. We either close the school, we restructure the school, which means we're going to take all of the staff out and completely start over. Restart. Yeah. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Or we restructure. And that's what we're looking at. What can we change? What little tweaks can we make? PED even told Jessica, what you're doing is working. Like restructure is where you should be. So we're just looking at what kind of tweaks we can make to make just a little bit more of a difference.
I always wonder what is if we had catastrophic success in the. It seems obvious to anyone who comes through that we're a different story here, and it's worth fighting for. Does this, if we had would we get legislation passed that gave us a special designation? What would be the most ideal circumstance to make it?
You would have to have the state redo its plan, its state plan, because this plan
It's
goes
not
to the
just-
federal government.
Okay.
It's a federal, and so they would need to do that. What's interesting in the visit there, and I talked with, each school gets assigned a mentor or someone, and the lady that we had this year was from Austin, Texas, and she said the structure makes it almost impossible for you to get where you need to be. Even the state has been somewhat apologetic about you're making great progress. We wish that it wasn't quite so rigid. And so long term is to encourage the public ed department, maybe through the legislature, to have a plan that allows for a 5-year cohort, like many other states have. You're not giving up on kids, you're just giving them one extra year. And I don't think that's unreasonable. But it's the plan that the state submits to the federal government that would need to be modified and approved.
Okay, that makes sense.
One of the things that I think it was not this last visit, but the visit before, they suggested making the school a school of choice. But that's not what the school is. We are bringing students in that are not on track to graduate and getting them where they need to be. So Jessica did allow some students to come in as choice. Like once we had everybody that we needed to take, the open seats she left for students of choice.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that helps some too.
And
Although we wouldn't know with these results, we'll know in the future.
Sorry, Renee.
No, that you're.
In conversations with other superintendents that have alternative schools, they're all facing the same challenge. We are not alone. It's just the structure of it. I don't know if they gave a lot of thought to those students coming in very late with short credits, what that would mean in terms of either giving away credits or getting the credits really done, that you have to have some additional time to do it. So I think they've heard from a lot of districts, not just Rio Rancho, that we need a change in that state plan that would allow for some additional flexibility like other states have.
How many alternative high schools are there in the state?
Pardon?
How many alternative high schools are there in the state?
I do not know exactly, but it's a significant number.
Oh, there's no. Okay.
Yeah.
I know Albuquerque has one. I don't know off the top of my head. They have 2 now.
And New Futures
Okay.
are both alternative, and I'm sure they may have more.
Yeah, it depends if you're counting in those charters.
Oh.
Mhm.
Whole other.
Las Cruces has alternative schools. I know that Hops has one. They're sprinkled across the state.
Yeah, especially in the larger districts, right?
And all of those schools are on the same list we are.
Mhm. Okay.
We are one of the highest of the schools. I just
believe
want to
it.
put
I
that out
believe
there.
Because we're amazing.
I'll get you that information. Yeah, be glad to.
And Rebecca, you have any questions? or
I have no
comments?
questions. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else from you both? We're good? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate it. Okay. Our next, we have a presentation on advanced placement results. As Dr. Stephanie Moore is coming up, she's our Executive Director of Curriculum Instruction. I just want to congratulate you on receiving that. How long has it been since you received that degree?
October 31st was
Okay.
defended and conferred in November.
Okay, well, congratulations. So that is wonderful. So we'll go ahead and turn it to you. If you have others who are coming up to present, go ahead and introduce them.
Julie is here from Cyber. She does not have a voice, so.
That's how I feel after track meets. I understand.
So Dr. Cleveland had asked when I came on board that we do some work around reestablishing advanced placement in Rio Rancho Public Schools. Rio Rancho Public Schools, for your context, has always had a very strong and robust program. We've led the state in this work. But we've kind of seen a little bit of a dip with some change in personnel and staffing and things like that. So it became part of our priority work, and we had a request from school sites to also have a little bit more point of contact at the district level. So I'm going to start with a big overview of what AP is in case you are unfamiliar, and we'll do that quickly, and then we'll talk about where we are in Rio Rancho. These are the people that are who we contact with, who has direct contact with College Board. Amanda Bader helps support teachers from district office, but then each site has their own coordinator that orders go in on Monday for exams. So they are frantically getting everything, and you'll understand why in just a moment. So next, we have this is just the logo. We're gonna really dig into what AP is. So how does AP work? In case you're unfamiliar, this is a College Board designed curriculum. They offer APs available in 40 different courses. We offer 30 right now of those. Across all spectrums of coursework. It's not just core. There are a number of elective level courses also. All of that work is done for a May exam that we as a school and a district have no control over. It's actually an international exam, and everybody tests when the College Board tells them to test. It's the first 2 weeks of May, and everybody has their time slot. Students receive their scores in July. They get anywhere from a 1 to a 5. I am super mindful about they just earn a score. We don't pass or fail AP. You just earn a score. Whether or not it's qualifying depends on where you're going in the out for post-secondary. Credit and placement is an opportunity here. New Mexico is really fortunate around College Board and AP. Our higher ed department as a state has all agreed in recent years around what each score will earn at every public college or university in the state of New Mexico. So no matter where you go, there's a list. It lays out exactly, and this is newer because, for example, New Mexico Tech used to not take very many AP classes. Now they are all bound in the same world with that. So some key benefits is college preparedness. There's a whole body of research around the fact that students who participate in advanced placement, whether they ever score above a 1, they are more likely to finish college on time. They're more likely to go to college and more likely to finish college. They're having a college experience in high school through the advanced placement curriculum. Financial savings, and while people feel like this is less important in New Mexico right now, it is not, right? We have kids right now who are finishing their undergraduate degrees a semester or 2 semesters early with no debt. And part of that is New Mexico is also fortunate in our opportunity to learn scholarships, but also they removed a lot of the pre-work and we're able to get directly into upper level work because of their AP scores. And we are working on testing. So the next 3 slides outlines for you all the AP courses that are currently this year being offered and where they're being offered in Rio Rancho. So there are a total of 30 of them. Our newest courses are AP Seminar and AP Research. These are capstone courses. Here we elect to use them as they can count as English credit. But this is really, AP Research is the students are conducting their own research around a topic of choice. I've enjoyed this class. I've been out to teach at Cleveland repeatedly this year about what is it like to teach research, because they are conducting their own research, coming to their own findings, and they will present and defend their research in April here. So it's a really, it's considered part of the capstone. That course currently can be submitted to the honors colleges in New Mexico for honors credit, those projects at the end of it. So that's exciting. We have a number of courses in the arts and our 2 English courses that are available. History and social sciences, world languages. We're really fortunate to offer a robust offering of world language AP courses. We offer AP Spanish Lit and Lang now in Rio Rancho. Shameless plug, we need an Italian and Latin teacher right now, or we're going to lose those programs, unfortunately. We also offer AP math courses and computer science courses, and then our AP science courses. AP Pre-Calc is also a newer course for the College Board. And Pre-Calc and Seminar have been standout courses for Rio Rancho High School. In fact, they were asked to attend as a panelist team at the Native American Advocacy Institute, highlighting the results of our Indigenous students, particularly in Pre-Calc and Seminar last year. So as you can see, there are 30 courses here, lots of different offerings, and outside of just your basic core. So any kid can have access to AP. Okay. Coming to AP in Rio Rancho next year will be AP African American Studies. This is also a newer course. It's been around probably 4 or 5 years, but we've not offered it until this coming fall. AP Cybersecurity and AP Business with Personal Finance. These are brand new courses. They're in pilot year this year, but we are tentatively scheduled to offer them at our schools in the fall. Registration's wrapping up, so we're hopeful. How do we prepare kids for AP? We are fortunate to offer pre-AP ELA 1 and ELA 2 for 9th and 10th graders. These courses have been around for about, in their current form, because we used to call a lot of things pre-AP until the College Board copyrighted it, trademarked it, said you can't just use it. So in its current form for about 6 or 7 years. In the fall, we will be adding pre-AP Algebra 1, pre-AP Geometry, and pre-AP Algebra 2. We have been offering advanced Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2, but this has a little bit tighter bound around it and knows that we're really gearing kids towards that AP experience because they also use College Board for that work. In addition, our middle schools are starting in a pilot model next year, advanced courses for science and social studies. We currently offer advanced ELA and math courses at our middle schools. With that vertical articulation to especially those freshman and sophomore level courses. In 2023, the College Board launched what they are calling the AP Honor Roll. It's a data released on a cohort of students. So in your packet, I gave you each of the AP Honor Roll results from each of the 3 high schools that offer AP courses. There's no district level honor roll, it's just by site. And it's important to know it's not about having all 5s. It's about having kids college ready. And there are 4 different levels of the honor roll. And then there's with distinction that's added if your cohort of AP students matches the demographics of your school site. We're pretty close in this area, although we have not earned the honor roll yet. You will see on the next slide that there are 3 areas. It is college culture. That means 40% of your students have taken a AP course during their time in high school. College credit, 25% of your students earned a 3 or higher while on any one exam. And then college optimization means that a student took 5 AP exams, including 1 during their 9th or 10th grade year. So for us, that's AP Human Geography as freshmen, AP World History as sophomores, and then AP Bio or AP Chem, depending on which high school you're at. So those are your options for your freshman and sophomore. And now AP Seminar, that one's brand new. 2% of your students have taken 5 or more during their high school. So on the next slide are our results. No school ticks every box yet, but we're close. Cyber is meeting honor roll in college culture and college credit, and Rio and Cleveland are meeting in college optimization. This is the class of 2025's data. I have no doubt by the time class of 2026 or 2027 releases, we will make the honor roll, and I'll show you the trend as to why that in just a second. So last year, college also announced these new awards called Big Future. This is based on your PSAT scores and your GPA and whether or not you are a first generation college-bound student or in what they consider a rural school. And interesting, Cleveland High School meets the criteria for rural school. So we had 129 students that were sophomores or juniors last year that were awarded Big Future awards. Rio Rancho High School also had one student honored as an ambassador, and this is a young man who goes out and talks to his classmates about all the benefits of being an AP. So this is a self-selected, they have to self-nominate to make this list. We had 129 kiddos last year, so that was exciting. It's a brand new one, right? So in our work, we really wanted to focus on professional learning for our teachers because teaching AP is different, right? You're in a whole different world, and sometimes you're the only one in your building doing it. So we have made a plan for advanced placement summer institutes and sending teachers out to those summer institutes. So for example, on Friday, I had 5 teachers come in. We filled out their OTT so that we can get them registered to go. We have a couple going to New Jersey, a couple going to a couple different places in Texas. But this is where they come together for a week and work with a college board facilitator to learn about their content and curriculum and how to best deploy it. Rio Rancho High School is going to be the host site for New Mexico this year. New Mexico does 2 weeks of APSE training, and Rio Rancho High School is going to host this year. They'll have 11 different offerings. It's the first 2 weeks of June, and then we'll have 11 virtual offerings also. We are also seeing an increased number of our AP teachers that are serving as what they call readers for the exam. That means they go for 7 days, and I mean 7 consecutive full work days, and score AP writing. Most of them are doing it in person. Some of them are now doing it from home since COVID. They do a mix of these, but we have more and more of our own AP teachers that are going to these readings and scoring exams. I was an AP teacher, and I scored for AP Human Geography for about 7 years. Best professional learning experience. Nothing better. You are with hundreds of other people that do the work you do and have the time to learn and grow together. It's so I'm proud to say we have more and more teachers doing this. In July, we offered a full day professional learning with a consultant from College Board. We had 60 of our 63 AP teachers attend that day. And they learned about AP Classroom, and they had time to collaborate across the district with each other and around skills that are agnostic to course. So those AP skills you're going to need whether you're in chemistry or studio art. We are also holding a quarterly AP PLC here where we can bring teams together to work with each other. We bought everybody brand new course exam descriptions, the books and the stuff for their walls in their classroom for their kids. And we have supported a number of our teachers to do peer classroom visits across the district when they can go see another colleague that has been teaching the course longer or has something to share. So we've been providing subs for that. AP is an open enrollment. It's an agreement you make when you agree to offer advanced placement. We sent out AP potential letters to every sophomore and junior in the district before registration. So based on their PSAT results, the College Board says, hey, we think you might be great at this course, or you might be interested in this course, and every letter is customized to that student's PSAT results and we got those out to all of our students before the registration opened. We also have done a number of site visits and are there on 8th grade night to help encourage enrollment in that transition, visiting middle schools to talk about what freshman year looks like, including AP. It is also helpful that we offer so many different AP courses. This can be taxing on a schedule. I understand that, but because we have it, lots of different kids get access to advanced placement. So now we're getting into the where we are right now, and this number is out of date. So I had to submit this a week ago, and it is up. So the exam total order right now, as of this morning, is 2,064 exams across the district. That is up from last year. We ordered 1,367 exams. So we're up almost 700 exams this year. That means we have more kids enrolled. We have 3,000, I don't want to say student, 3,000 enrollments in advanced placement. So we might have a kid that's enrolled in 3 or 4 classes. He would count 3 or 4 times. And of that, 465 of them are pre-AP kids. So that is up tremendously from where we were even last year. And last year was up. So I'm going to show you that data too. Our individual site by site, how many exams we're ordering. Rio Rancho High Schools is the number who's changed. So they're up to 1,168 right now. We've been working very closely with Betty this is a logistics thing. She has 5 exams at over 100. So where we put them all and how we administer that. CNI is working to help support her. Cleveland's also going offline in their major testing room or larger testing area just in time for the AP exams. So we've helped them find a plan around that also. 863 exams at Cleveland and 33 exams from Rio Rancho Cyber Academy. This is what that I'm most proud of around advanced placement, and having been the advanced placement teacher and having read, these are really exciting things. So this is our data for the last 5 years. You always have that rub when you increase enrollment, what's going to happen to your scores? Like, and if you believe all kids should test, what's going to happen to your scores? So I would have like an 85% take rate when I taught AP. To freshmen, my scores weren't the best, but my kids, it's what we worked for every day. As you can see here in this data, not only are we increasing the number of students involved in AP and the number of exams that are being taken, we're also increasing the number of students who are earning a 3 or higher. In fact, last year, we had more students earn a 5 than we had students earn a 1. The work that these teachers and this community does around advanced placement is remarkable and needs to be commended, and we're trying really hard to continue the momentum. I'm excited to see what registrations look like and what our AP honor roll results look like next year when they come out, in light of the concentrated effort that has been put in. Julie, Stacy, and Betty all have gotten on board, have supported, they're rallying, like, this is important and how can we better support you over the last 2 years. So I just see things getting better. Julie probably has the largest number of increase. She's increasing her course offerings significantly next year at Cyber. So, and with that, I stand for questions.
Thank you. Dr. Cleveland, do you want to add anything before we go to questions?
It has taken a lot of work, and I think the data suggests there's been major improvements. And so really congratulations to you and to the building coordinators and for putting in all that extra time and effort. It really is a wonderful program, and it really is a program that challenges students who want to be challenged and those who do want to get a head start on their college education and earn credits. And so we took a dip, and you go back and look, 2020 was the pandemic, and but we did lose some people who had that long history working with advanced placement, and others have now stepped up and taken the lead with it. So We've still got a ways to go, but those are really proud numbers. You put them up against numbers nationally and it looks really good. So again, thank you for your hard work on that. And obviously those efforts are really paying off for students. And it's just exciting to see the number who are actually taking advanced placement courses. So.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll go over to Seth. Any questions?
Well, just thank you for what you're doing. I know my kids, when my son tried AP, my daughter excelled at them. So
That's good. That's
Same,
good.
I tried.
That's good. Rebecca?
I don't have any questions, but thank you so much. My son has done AP over the last few years and he's doing well. Let's put it that way.
Michael?
I have a couple quick questions. First, I think AP courses are the best preparation for college. Usually they're harder than college classes. That's the great secret. Don't tell anybody that. What is the big limiting factor on course offerings? Just having the right teacher that it can or willing or wants to teach?
I mean, some of it is having teachers that can teach it. Also, if you don't have enough sections, offering a singleton of something in a schedule gets very difficult too, in order to master schedule so that kids can get to everything they need to.
Right. So just it's scheduling. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. What's the cost to take the exam?
Right at
$100.
$100. Uh-huh.
What a bargain. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
We do have
We
scholarships.
do. We do scholarships and we do free and reduced. And Suzanne has been able to help support with our Native American students taking the exam. And it's a way in which we also measure bilingual, our bilingual seal, bilingual and biliteracy seal that Suzanne spoke about at our last board meeting. So we have a very successful take rate in our AP language courses.
Okay. Yeah, I'm so grateful for that scholarship because last year, I think maybe it was 2 years ago, I had 3 of my kids taking AP tests, and it was $100 seems not bad, but when you have multiple, it's a lot, and so it is a lot. I would say that when my kids started taking, I was not a believer in AP. I really wasn't. I didn't take them when I took advanced classes, but I didn't take AP classes because they are hard. But my kids have all excelled in them, and now I really am a believer in it. And they have, I think my son, this is me being really nice, giving some kudos to my son, but he has 41 credits at the college that he's going to. So that's huge. And those you have to get 4s and 5s for that. And so I really want to thank all those who have put so much effort into this program, our teachers and all those things. And I think sometimes it's hard, because it is more college focused. And so I think sometimes our parents are like, wait, they're not teaching and they teach a lot. But because it's more college, like there is learning you have to do outside of the class. And so it's hard to get used to those things, but I've seen great things. I do have a question on the scholarship fund though. Where's that coming from? And are there people who are can people put money into that fund as well? I don't know how it actually works.
So we did have one person express interest about starting a scholarship fund. Moving forward, the scholarship fund will be calculated in the ZBB. We've operationalized AP in the budgets. So we have a revenue stream, right? So every time an exam is taken, the vast majority of students pay for it. And there's a portion of that comes back to the schools, to the district, to help fund things like supplies or scholarships or professional learning, which is how we have typically paid for that or had scholarship money. When there have been years that have been lean in that fund, I know that we have asked administration to see what they had in their site budgets to help support. They've always been great about it. Yeah.
Wonderful.
I am not aware, and hopefully it didn't happen. If it did, then I feel terrible about it. But I don't think we have had many instances of students who found it to be a financial challenge that we didn't take care of it for them and encourage them to take advantage of that, because we certainly did not ever want that to be a reason a student could not take the exam.
The state also has a program too that helps subsidize some of the testing that we access also.
Okay. That is good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, and our last report is our update on our facilities projects. Patrick Martinez, our Executive Director of Facilities, will present.
All right, thank you, President Galbraith, members of the board, Dr. Cleveland. I'm here to give you an update on facilities projects. So a quick overview. So I'm going to go over just briefly kind of the department, just a quick department overview. This is really for the new board members, just to get an idea of facilities. I'm going to go quickly through our project management, the structure, how we do projects. I'll briefly touch on Trimble Unity Construct, which is a project management software that we utilize. I'll go through current projects, and then last I'll give updates on a few bond projects. So going into the department, I just wanted to quickly go through the responsibilities of facilities. One of the major ones obviously is building maintenance, grounds maintenance. Another leg is custodial services. We also handle warehouse services, which is shipping, receiving the mail. And then we have a newer leg to facilities, which is energy management, which hopefully soon we can come back to you and give you some updates on some of the strides we're making there. And then obviously what we're here to talk about today are capital projects, which is a big part of it. And then lastly, we handle all of the background checks for contractors, specifically for construction contractors, vendors that we utilize. We handle that. And so the next slide is just it's just the org chart. We don't necessarily have to go through that. The next thing I'd like to talk about is our project management, our structure and the workload. So facilities is comprised of, we have 2 capital project managers, 1 maintenance project manager, and then the one grounds director. They're both kind of project managers. They run small grounds projects. And we categorize projects now by what's called a large capital project, which is going to be greater than 100,000, and then a maintenance project, what we're considering a maintenance project, which would be less than 100,000. And so you can see there in the graph, it's kind of just looking at what the current workload is right now. So each project manager has close to 20 projects. Our maintenance project manager has 13 and grounds has 4. Now these are projects, what I'm looking at here are projects that are over 25,000, and I'll kind of talk to you about why we categorize that as well in the next slide, which talks about Trimble Unity Construct. So if you recall, well, I guess President Galbraith would recall this, but the new board members, we did an RFP a while back for a project management software, and we selected what was called eBuilder at the time. APS utilizes this software, as well as the state PSFA utilized this for project management. And so we utilize this, which it's changed the name to Trimble Unity Construct as our project management software. And what it does, it ensures efficiency for project-specific projects and oversight for projects over 25,000. Anything under, it doesn't involve as much oversight, and we don't necessarily put it in the software currently, anyway. So our current use, we use it mostly internal. The project managers are required to update their processes. It's also a document storage, so all project documents live in this software, and we can run reports on project workload. We can run budget reports and kind of see project health. And then what we're currently working on building up is external access. So one of the nice things that we have is we have unlimited licenses for this, and we can bring in our vendors so that we can actually run processes with our outside vendors, our architects and our general contractors. And that really helps with project health as well. We see when you have pay applications, invoices, any sort of RFI that are run through the system, we can kind of see where they're held up, and that just helps move projects along. And then one of the other things we want to look at, we're currently working on right now, is executive level dashboards to really show high level project health. And so right now what I'll do is I'll go into some of the current projects that we're working on. Facilities has a multiple of projects from various funding sources, which include bond, capital outlay, SB9, state match, and operational. We currently have 23 active bond projects, 12 active capital outlay projects, and 19 projects that vary between SB9, state match, operational, and sometimes we utilize multiple funding to handle some of these projects. Next slide. So this is a list of our current bond projects. And so these are all projects that we're actively working on right now. And you'll notice that there are a few in red. And what I've noted with those is those are our PSFA projects. If you recall, a lot of the bond projects that we went out for were contingent on PSFA funding. And so those ones are currently in PSFA. We have 4 of them right now that are PSFA, what we're calling PSFA contingent. So we're working through some of the paperwork still, some of the approval processes to get those going. You'll notice that in these bond projects that for Rio Rancho High School and Cleveland High School, there's quite a few projects, minus the Rio Rancho High School building upgrades, which I'll go into a little bit later, are some of the smaller athletic projects. And so we've kind of bumped those up because we can get those done a lot quicker. As you know, some of these larger projects just take a little bit longer with design and then construction. We can utilize the bond funds in a shorter time span and get those done quicker while we're gearing up for some of these larger projects. And then we have a list of capital outlay projects. These are the projects that have been awarded over the past 2 years. All of them are current and all of them are on track to be completed before their reversion date. We did have one last year, Enchanted Hills Elementary, that we had to reauthorize, but it was done shortly after the reauthorization. So we're on track with those projects, which those projects are really great for us because we can't get everything done through our bond and SB9. And so when we ask for some of those capital outlay requests, they're really important projects that we're able to get done. The next one is just our other capital projects and maintenance projects. You'll notice Puested also pre-K is on there. We've had to utilize multiple funding sources to complete that. And we went through that in the work session, so I won't go too much into that. But a lot of these projects, again, are just things that we're not able to get done through our bond. They're not as large, so we're able to utilize some of these other funding sources to complete, but a lot of them are just as important. Highlighting Ernie Stapleton and Maggie Cordova, both of them are on the bond to get HVAC upgrades, but their kitchens are currently at their lifespan. And so we're utilizing some of these funds to just get the kitchens taken care of. That way those are functioning in anticipation for full HVAC upgrades. And then I will go through the bond projects. And so we've highlighted a few bond projects to discuss: Rio Tech, the PV labs specifically, Independence High School, Cleveland High School, classroom addition and security upgrades, Rio Rancho High School, which is a very large systems upgrade with some additions, and then Lincoln Middle School, which is a classroom creation. So first we have Rio Tech PV Lab. So when we did the design for Rio Tech, we didn't include the solar program, which is still being developed. So we're currently in design to retrofit an exterior area to have basically roofs that the students can simulate putting solar panels on. And there's several different types of roof: tile roof, Spanish tile, shingle, metal roof, and flat roof. And all of these will have inverters on site so that they can actually plug in and see if the solar panels are working. And then there'll be an associative classroom to work on this. So this is currently in design. We should have that design completed in the next few months, with construction completed in spring of 27. The overall budget for this is $550,000. The next project, definitely an important one, especially after the presentations you guys have heard, is the Independence High School new campus. So this one is currently under construction. I'm sure if you guys have driven down Northern, you've seen the construction fences, and it's moving along. We recently finalized our guaranteed maximum price of $33.8 million. And this was a really slow process to try to get in budget. But the great part about it is we were able to capture all of the scope that we were intending, which includes an auditorium and a gym, which was really one of the things we were trying to save. So this project was done under what's called CMAR, which is a construction manager at risk. And so what that means is we do a little bit of design, usually up to the schematic design development phase, and then we hire a contractor. And then what we do is they basically marry each other, and they're dedicated to bringing this project in at a very specific price. So each step of the way, we're reviewing cost, we're reviewing materials, we're reviewing everything that is going to make up the final budget for this, the construction budget for this project. And so with that process, which we found to be extremely helpful in a climate that has, construction prices are rising, it's been really helpful to have the contractor early in the process to really help finesse some of those prices. And so, like I said, this project is scheduled to open August of 2027, and there's a little rendering there to see what the new building will look like, and then a floor plan. And as you can see, and you guys visited Independence High School, one of the things that they're having to deal with is just the current design of the building really doesn't help what they're trying to do there. And so the new design, the hope is that it'll really help facilitate, the work that they're putting in. The next project is the Cleveland High School Classroom Addition and Security Upgrades. So this project, the overall scope for this is to add 4 additional classrooms, one standalone security pavilion between the gym and the cafeteria, and then some upgrades to the current entrance. And both of these are in anticipation to utilize the Evolve system. We do have the Evolve system at Cleveland, but currently in less than ideal vestibules. And so these would be creating designated areas for those systems to be in on both sides of the campus. And then with that, we'll do some security fencing upgrades to really just secure the perimeter. We're currently in the design phase with the design completion August of 26, and then construction to start late fall, and then the completion for fall of 27. The project budget is $8 million for this. And so with that budget, again, we were able to get 4 classrooms. The design is phased, so it can be added on to later on as funding allows. And you can see in the site plan diagram that we went through a few renditions of where's the best place to put this classroom addition. We did a lot of studies to see what made the most sense. We worked with the school to see what would work best with circulation, security, and in the current location right now, there's what used to be a grass sort of small field. It's mostly dirt now. We felt that was the best place for several reasons: drainage, the dust issue, and then it's a nice kind of enclosure for that campus. So we're currently we're on schedule for this project as well. The next project, this is a very large project, Rio Rancho High School. So this is a full systems upgrade, and what that includes is HVAC upgrades, a roof replacement, fire alarm upgrade, LED upgrade. It also includes a fine arts addition, which would include a production space. Now we're working through kind of what that will look like, but the idea is that they don't currently have a scene production space. They're doing it in the wings, which isn't really safe. So that the idea is that we'll be able to create a designated space for them. And then with that, similar to Cleveland, we'll be working on some security perimeter upgrades, enclosing this campus. And then lastly, some drainage. Rio Rancho High School is essentially built in a bowl. And so we've had a lot of drainage issues over the years, which we'll be doing our best to mitigate some of the major areas for that. So as mentioned before, this one's currently, we're working with PSFA. Unfortunately, there is a lot of paperwork and a lot of stuff that goes into getting funding from PSFA. There's studies that have to be done prior to funding. So we're working through that. We should be signing the contract for the design for this fairly soon. And we'll be getting started design. Now, one of the challenges with this project is there's not a lot of swing space. And so one of the biggest challenges we're gonna have is really how do we take down sections of the school for an HVAC upgrade while maintaining students and maintain the academics. So one of the things we're looking at is adding in the classroom addition, which is also pending a study. And I haven't really talked about that because it's not officially approved through PSFA, but the goal is to add that in and hopefully get that project underway as well. That way we could potentially utilize some swing space there. And the last project is Lincoln Middle School. So Lincoln Middle School currently has 3 gyms, which is great. They have what was their original main gym, they have an aux gym, and then they have their detached gymnasium building that was added. And so right now they also have 3 portables. They had 4, we were able to remove one of them, but 3 portables that have reached their lifespan. So the goal of this project is to utilize some of those larger spaces, renovate to create classrooms. Again, this was a PSFA project, and one of the things we were tasked with is doing basically a school-wide utilization study and programming study to see what type of classrooms we need to build there. And it was determined that they're lacking science, and then some of the fine arts spaces aren't adequate. So we'll be working through in multiple locations through the building to create classrooms in some of these larger areas. In addition, we'll also be doing a partial roof replacement, which will be finishing out the school for a roof replacement. So the study is complete. It has been approved through PSFA, and so now we're working on hiring an architect to begin the design for this renovation. We don't currently have a timeline for that. As soon as we do, as soon as we have the design team on board, we'll be able to really finalize a timeline for this. With that, I stand for questions.
Okay, thank you. First off, Dr. Cleveland, do you want to add anything to that?
Thank you for a very thorough, very good report. You see, there's an awful lot on the plate in this department. One of the challenges that we're beginning to face now, and it's just hard. It's really hard sometimes to mentally wrap your head around. Rio Rancho High will be 30 years old next year. And so there are a lot of things that obviously need to be done in a building that is 30 years old. And so the commitment of 45 million is a lot, but there's a lot to be done there. It's also kind of shocking to me. I had Principal Affentranger correct me today. Cleveland is about 17 years old, but Lincoln is one of our oldest buildings. So Lincoln predates the district by many years. And I was sharing with Dr. Dodd, there were at one time 1,650 kids in Lincoln, if you can only imagine. It was just amazing. We had more portables then, that we survived that, but we did. But we have our buildings, my point is they're aging. A lot of them are aging. And so I'd have to really give a lot of consideration to how we maintain those buildings, how we keep them up. And one of the things we've learned over time is short-term maintenance is better than long-term, not taking care of things that you pay several times over because you didn't attend to those. And so this is a nice balance of new things and taking care of what we have and building for the future. With the Independence campus, it's so exciting to see that underway. We hope at one point maybe we will be able to put a daycare on that site as well for an early childhood program. And we have been in conversations with Secretary Brzezinski about that possibility, also working through CTE and maybe even through Rio Tech. So a lot of good things. So thank you for a very thorough, a very expansive report.
Okay, thank you. And we'll start with Michael on this one. Any questions?
Thank you, Patrick. Very, very informative. I have just a quick question, and maybe it's a little aside, so I hope you forgive me if it's a little outside. So with one of the things I heard most throughout when I was, becoming a board member is both, security at the schools, but then security within the schools once maybe they're safe once they get onto campus. What are some things you're doing that, first off, with these new buildings, when Lincoln was designed, they probably weren't considering how to make it a secure building. And maybe if you could speak briefly about that. But then also, I've heard reports about people who are concerned about their kids using bathrooms in high schools or things like that about, because of behavior that's happening in the bathroom. I know there may be engineering solutions there that maybe can help remedy that. It's a little bit of a curveball. I hope you forgive my side question, but if you could speak to a little bit of those.
Mike Baker's coming up too to help you out.
I was going to say, I think
I didn't mean to bring up the boss. Yeah.
No.
Okay, I think those are really good questions. Security, and now I'll do the part, the less detailed part. Sal Maniaci, his department has done a really good job of creating standards. And the nice part with creating those standards, we've been able to implement those with any of our new builds. So one of the major things that we've implemented, we've retrofitted all of our schools with forced entry. But we were able to, some of the new facilities, we're able to really think through what that looks like, this forced entry, and design it so that it's, it works the best it can. As you said, some of the older schools, we've had to work with whatever the space that we're given, and we've had to do some renovations. But, being able to design that into these new schools has been really helpful. On top of that, when we're thinking exterior, again, security has done a great job with standardizing fencing and walls, and really making sure that we're being equitable throughout the district. And so as we're doing some of these new projects, we're able to just take those standards and implement into the new facilities. And then lastly, access control. Every new facility is equipped with access control, but not just on the exterior, but also on the interior. Each classroom has access control, which helps with lockdown situations and things of that nature. I don't, Mike, if you want to add anything to the security side.
Yeah, just if I may, excuse me, President Galbraith, Dr. Cleveland, members of the school board. So when we look at security, essentially, we can look at it in two different parts. One is physical security. And so we work very closely, obviously, with Sal, talking about physical security. Patrick spoke about a number of the physical security things that we do. One, probably the more exciting thing is the Evolve system. And so we call it the Evolve system. That's just the name of the manufacturer of the system, but it is a concealed weapons detection system. And so probably the most important thing that we can do is to ensure that a weapon is not coming onto school grounds. And so with that comes all those other security pieces. Cameras, for example, we install and expand our cameras throughout the school. And a lot of people say, well, cameras are reactive versus a proactive. Not necessarily, because we have these large monitor stations where we have one security that is actually monitoring many different areas of the campus and can actually see things develop before they actually develop. For example, if the students are engaged in a fight, for example, there's these signals that they'll throw out before the fight. The security guard will see it on the camera, will call other security officers to that location to stop the fight before it begins. That's just one small example. So there's many different security measures, and now what we're trying to do is go back into the school environment and retrofit what we have. Patrick talked about access control and forced entry. So in the past, security was really kind of a non-thing until in recent years with all these active shooter situations and other violent crimes that occur on campuses. And so one of the things that we did was to secure the perimeter of the school. So somebody just couldn't walk in the school. We've had that in the past where people would just walk into the school. So now the entire perimeter is locked down with access control. Forced entry means that somebody has to essentially be buzzed into the school once the school starts. They have to go through administration. They have to check in before they go into the school. So in the future, Sal will come up and give a long presentation on the different security measures, but there we have a layered system. Not one system does everything. There's many layers to our system that essentially make everything safe. And so with that,
Thank you.
I would just add, it never leaves our mind, safety and security ever. It just doesn't ever leave our mind because we know the world that we live in today and why that has to have a lot of attention. If you could go back, Claudia, just back to the Independence new building, you'll see that in the center area is an area for students to congregate. The whole purpose of putting it inside the building like that instead of outside, as it's normally was to add that extra layer of protection and supervision. And so from design to additional auxiliary things like Evolve or cameras or other things, it's just something that's always there because it is a pressing thing for every single parent today. You know, how can you not help but worry about the world that we live in sometime? But this was one example of thinking ahead on how we could build a more safe courtyard environment as compared to what we have perhaps at some other places.
And probably, we're talking about physical security, but by far the most important component of our security system is our security guards. And we have armed and unarmed security guards. And so they are out in all of our campuses, monitoring what's going on, assessing threats, and on, talking to the students before something happens. That's the key, is let's keep our ears open, our eyes open, listen to the students, because the students will typically tell us what's going on. And so we want to prevent something from happening.
Yeah, and we'll have a more comprehensive security update here in the pretty near future too. Michael, do you have anything else on that?
Well, I wanted to answer, you had a question regarding restrooms as well. And so one of the things that we were able to do prior to Rio Tech is we did a study that was, it was originally slated to go at Rio Rancho High School, but the concept of an open restroom, and President Goff remembers, the multiple meetings, community meetings around that. But we were able to come up with a design that was both safe and provided privacy. And so we were able to implement that at Rio Tech, and that's going to kind of become our new standard. And so Independence has the same design for restrooms, and Cleveland High School is also, we're exploring that in the classroom edition there as well. And the nice thing about that is the state is, and the construction industry division, that's who we get permitted through. Their interpretation of what a universal restroom or an open restroom is constantly evolving, which is better for us. We had to make some concessions with Rio Tech on how we designed it, and it's just getting better so that we can actually be able to do this more, and the users will feel a little bit better about them. So yeah, that is one of the standards that we've implemented.
Thanks. We wish we could just implement it everywhere, but it is extremely expensive. Extremely expensive. Rebecca. And, okay, and Seth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you ready? Okay. I actually have a suggestion, okay? And I feel like it's a very good suggestion, okay? So I'm hoping 2 days ago, I received, and this person doesn't even have kids in the schools anymore, but she sent me a whole bunch of pictures of one of the tracks and is like, this is an embarrassment and this is not safe. And so I just want to, once again, I saw we're in the works on that. I heard there's some planning going on, but there are community members who are concerned. So here's my suggestion though. We have at Rio Rancho those terraced, and so as we pull out turf and as we're putting in turf, I thought, maybe you guys already thought about this, but why don't we take some of those strips, because there's always strips and leftovers, and put them in that terraced spot to make it maybe a more comfortable track. That's just a thought, but
We've had discussions about some of that area.
and it could not totally work because it's so sandy over there. It might just make more of a mess, but that track is just so uncomfortable. So it would be great to make it better. But I just thought, it was on Sunday. I got some pictures. Someone texted over to me and I was like, uh-oh, what's this about? And concerns about those tracks. So thank you for working on those.
Just so you know, we did just, I think they're scheduled to go this week to go make repairs. And so that was the hard part. We were kind of in that middle ground of, we need to make repairs. We need to invest some money in the repairs, but we know we're going to rip it out and replace it with a brand new track. And so, but yes, we are definitely handling a lot of those issues.
That's good. That's good. And I heard it's going to be a pretty big process of trying to actually make them usable for a long time. So, okay. Well, thank you for that. Anything else from the board on any of these things? Okay. Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate it. All right. Our next is our public comment. And there was nothing online, right? I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything that was online. Okay. And I know one of our public comment for sure had to go. And that was Lucy York. But she did leave her public comment, and it's on it's on up here so you can see that. I will just, since I do that for the online public comment, just a quick summary of it. It's just in concerns of disciplinary action that was taken at Cleveland High School. Our second, I just want to make sure they're here, is going to be Ken Todd. Are you here? Okay, I thought that was you. Okay. And so before you get up, I just want to go through a couple of things, especially since we have new board members. So whenever we do public comment, unless this is an item that's actually on our agenda, we can't talk about it. And so this is where you get all the fun YouTubes where the board just looks, they can't say anything, but that's just the way it is legally. So as Mr. Todd comes up, he'll be able to give his comments. He will have 3 minutes to give those comments, and then we'll probably just say thank you to you. And it's a really fun, awkward interaction between the board and our public comment. But with that, we do appreciate receiving public comments that do come in. And so JC, are you ready to do a timer? So she'll have a timer that goes off for you. And then when that's over, if you just go ahead and step back down. So it'll start when you start. So our public comment by Ken Todd.
Just lost my.
Good.
Thank you for letting me speak this evening. Dr. Cleveland, incoming Dr. Dodd, and new board members, and Amanda, our president. Matter of fact, she went to school with my son.
Is your son Jeremy?
Jeremy.
Okay.
I've been with the district since 1997-98 as a volunteer, as a bond committee person, helping pass bonds, especially for athletics. And I worked for the district in a stipend for years. I've retired like 10 times. I think this is the best district in the state. I've done just about everything in the district for athletics that I possibly can. Reason I'm here is last year, they did some upgrades with the baseball stadium. And they painted the stadium and did some stuff with the painting, and they took some boards down. And the community and the businesses, the district, and a lot of volunteers built that baseball stadium back in the day. Well, there were 2 boards that were taken down at the time that showed all the businesses donated to the building of the field. And these boards have not been put back up. I talked to Todd Risch. I left Sal Gonzalez out of it because being sick. Talked to Mr. Baca. And there was a work order put in last April to get these 2 boards back up that supported the baseball program and some of the softball program when they were built. And these boards to this date have not been put back up. Something simple to put these boards up to show the support the community did back in the day, back in 99 and 2000, has not been done to this date. I support every sports program, both Rio Rancho and Cleveland. And I've supported district in all kinds of bonds to get them passed for improvements of the district. And I've given my heart to this district on everything possible. I've been on the bond committees to have helped that, and mainly athletics. And to do 2 simple boards being hung back up at that building has yet to been done. And all I'm asking the board is to consider talking with facilities and getting these 2 boards back up. They've been on the ground for a year now, and hopefully they're not damaged. Some of the companies that helped donate back in that day to get it done, besides the district, Don Chalmers for one, people have asked, where are the boards? Why haven't they been put back up? And that's all I ask, is these boards get back put up. And with a work order being put in over a year ago, it's still not done. And thank you again for listening to me, and I'm hoping something can be done. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for coming in. Thank you. All right, and I believe that's all of our public comment for tonight. We'll now go to approve the consent agenda.
Board Member Murray, motion to approve the consent agenda.
Board Member Berry, second.
A motion and a second. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, now we're in our business portion of our meeting for tonight. We'll start with the consider the award of the ITB number 2026-014-FAC concrete and CMU block wall contractor on demand. Chris Tweet, our Director of Purchasing and Chief Procurement Officer, will present.
President Galbraith, Superintendent Cleveland, members of the board, thank you for having me this evening. As I think you all know, I'm pretty new to the district. I've been here for almost 3 months now. I just wanted to say that I think it's fantastic that the facilities department is so proactive with these types of on-demand contracts. We're going to hear one tonight about concrete and concrete block wall, but also there's been a bunch done in the past for HVAC, for plumbing, for electrical, and I just think it's fantastic that the district is so proactive in having these vendors under contract before these projects do come to light. With that, Superintendent Cleveland did a great summary of the project earlier, and I just want to refresh the board that we did have 5 vendors who submitted bids, and the committee is recommending that all 5 are awarded for the project. And with that, I stand for questions.
Okay. Dr. Cleveland, do you have anything to add on this one?
Yeah, would you explain a little bit the differences in the numbers that have come in? Because I've had that question from a board member, and why those numbers are different and why we're awarding to all 5.
Sure. And I can't specifically explain why each bidder submitted the bid that they did, but as Superintendent Cleveland is mentioning, we did have 5 bids, and we had 2 that were kind of on the low end of the spectrum, and we had 2 that were on the higher end of the spectrum, and we had one that was kind of in the middle. And it's really hard to say exactly why the bids did come in as they did. But I want you to know that if you do support the recommendation of award, our facilities department does, whenever they have projects to award, they do reach out to multiple vendors. And of course, they include the ones that are showing the lowest cost now to make sure that we are getting as good idea as possible of what the market cost for that work is at that time. It is just extremely helpful to have access to as many vendors who are qualified on hand, so that when the need does arise, if there's an emergency need and we have a bunch of other contractors working on other projects, that we do have vendors, a sufficient number of vendors that can handle the needs of the district.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Any questions from the board on this? Okay, so as we go to a motion on this one, we need to name out all of them. So there's 5, so we need to name out each company for that individual who is brave and decides to go to motion on this one. Okay, go ahead.
So Board Member Mueller, I motion that we approve the award of ITB number 2026-014-FAC for concrete and CMU block wall contractors on demand, based on the evaluation committee's recommendation to award that contract to Perimeter Ironworks, Vincent Block LLC, Weiser Electric LLC, LLR Construction LLC, Nova Construction LLC, and Construction Dummies.
That's perfect. A second.
Board Member Berry, second.
A motion, a second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Okay. That's where it gets to our hard things. So on our next items, I think for our next item, we'll go ahead and go for a motion, and then I just want to give an opportunity just to speak to it for a moment. But our next item is to consider accepting the resignation of Board Secretary Elizabeth Miller. Do I have a motion for that?
Board Member Berry motions to consider the acceptance of the resignation of Board Member Secretary Miller.
Board Member Murray, second.
Okay. Motion second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. It's kind of interesting to have to take, action on something like that. And, but I do want to speak just for a moment about Dr. Beth Miller. I want to thank Dr. Cleveland for her words. I know you've known Beth for a very long time.
About 20 years.
About 20 years. And I was really grateful when Beth chose to run for the board, and I was running for my second term, and she was running for her first term. And I know that some people in the community approached her and asked her if she would run, and she was so willing to do that. She's been involved in education for so long, and I know in some ways she was a little nervous to do it too. It wasn't something that she had done before, but she has been such a great. She's been such a great board member and just so supportive of everyone. Last year when we were up in Santa Fe, she was just really an important person to have with us as we were working through some things, because she knows so many different individuals in the state, at the state level, that consider her a friend. And her word, that was all they needed really to move ahead with some things. And it just speaks to her character and who she was. She was kind to everyone. And as we're also in this time, and I think this was the hardest thing for her as she had to put this resignation in, is that she really wanted to show that support for Dr. Dodd. And so it was hard for her to not be able to show that support. But she did numerous times say that she does have that support, and she has that support for him, and she wishes that she could be here to help with that transition. And so and Dr. Cleveland, once again, she spoke to all of the wonderful achievements that she has, but truly she's just been such a great board member. I'm hoping that we're going to get her plaque to her. Do we have a plaque that is on order so that we can get that to her? But we love her in Rio Rancho, and we wish her the absolute best. Dr. Cleveland, is there anything else that you want to add? I know that you spoke a lot to her about her earlier, but is there anything else that you'd like to say before we?
Well, I think it's been said, but
Okay.
she's been contributing to education in this community for many years. And she came to us from UNM Gallup and opened the UNM West Side campus in Rio Rancho. She was the campus director there. But before, all of her years here in Rio Rancho, she'd been very active with Rotary and some other service organizations. And her focus during that time was literacy for children. And so she helped through Rotary several opportunities to provide tutoring and additional materials and other things for some of our schools for children who were struggling with learning to read. And so that's always been a passion for her. And I thought it was interesting being college level that she had such a fervor for helping children learn to read. But she's also been involved in the Sandoval Regional Medical Center, on a board there. She's just been an integral part of our district, but also of the greater community. And so we do wish her well and hope that she will have a good recovery. And we'll know that we will really miss her on the board in Rio Rancho. So I just want to thank her for her many contributions to our children in the community.
Yeah, thank you. So in just a moment, we'll talk more about that. We do have, so that resignation went into effect today. She dated it March 9th for today. So now we have 45 days, is that correct, Lauren Hatch? And we'll talk more about that here in just a moment to put a new board member in. But going into our next one with Beth's resignation, we now need a new board secretary. And we felt that was pretty important for us to get into place, even though we are missing one of our members. And so with this, I don't want this to be, like I said, like last time when we did this, like it can be so awkward as we go through all these things. So we have 2 already filled, but this is something that we can discuss, and you are welcome to nominate yourself. Don't feel like you have to wait for someone. And I'm sure both of you are happy to fill that spot, but we can have a conversation about it, or you can just nominate yourself and we can go into, or we can nominate if we would like to as well. So I'm going to open it up for discussion and we can end for nominations as well. So it looks like you might have something to say. Do you want to
I'll say, I would nominate Rebecca Murray to be the secretary.
Okay.
That's fine with me.
You good with that? Okay. Okay, so we have a nomination for Rebecca Murray to be that position. And we don't have to go for seconds, we just go for a vote on this. Is there any other nominations? We have our huge board of, okay. So if we have no other nominations, we'll just go for a vote on this. And you want to just, JC, I'll hand that over to you.
Vice President Mueller,
Yes.
Board Member Murray,
Yes.
Board Member Barry,
Yes.
President Galbraith.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, thank you. Now I have stuff for you to sign. So for after this meeting. So thank you for accepting that. We appreciate it. Okay. All right, so going into our next item. So we're going to be considering the approval of a vacancy announcement. And so I'd like Lauren Hatch, if he doesn't mind, to come up and we can talk. And I'm sure Wenda might have some thoughts in here too. It's up to you if you want to come right up. Am I missing anything? Oh, so if you go into, is your computer still?
No, I got it.
So they just put into the business. This is a draft. Okay. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to back up for just a second. I'm going to hand it over to Lauren. So he's going to talk about, we can fix some of those things. Okay. So Lauren's going to give us some of the options and some of the history of what we've done in the past. So since I've even been on the board, we've had two, actually it's just one, but then one right as I was coming on, of individuals who have, so this isn't something, crazy that has never happened before, but I'm going to give Lauren some time to talk a little bit about some of the options that we can do.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Cleveland and Dr. Dodd. This is an event that hasn't happened a lot of times in the history of Rio Rancho Public Schools, but it has happened 3 times that I know of. This will be the 4th one. Dr. Cleveland can correct me on the history if I've got that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I was a witness, actually, firsthand witness to replacing 2 of them. And it's been done various different ways. My understanding is the first time that the board replaced a vacancy, the board just, in a noticed meeting, nominated somebody and the board voted and that person was appointed to the board. I believe it was a former school board member at that time. The second time, a member resigned, that she actually moved into a different district, and so she would be unqualified to serve. The board did a vacancy announcement along the lines of what we're proposing today, just because this would take the most procedure. If you wanted to go this way, we've kind of set it up to be able to do that. They took applications, so to speak, and they interviewed everybody in an open meeting, and then the board appointed somebody in an open meeting. And then the third way, it was in the middle of an election, somebody resigned. Because the election was pending, the board waited until there was a winner. And then that winner was appointed to fill the remainder of the term, which they were going to take over at the beginning of January anyways. So those are the 3 methods. In policy 212 and in the law, it doesn't tell the board how they have to do it. It says it has to be done in a public meeting, an open meeting. And it has to be a qualified elector, somebody who lives in the district. A qualified elector is essentially somebody who is legally registered to vote in that district. How the board goes about it, that's up to them. The way we've kind of set it up is that it would, looking towards the approach of doing a vacancy announcement and accepting applications. The board doesn't have to do it that way. If you do choose to do it that way, we want it to be prepared to have the most time available to be able to get that out there and announced, and have an opportunity for people to make their applications for you guys to consider. There is a hard deadline of 45 days. If the board does not appoint somebody within 45 days, they lose that opportunity and it goes to the Secretary of the Public Education Department. So it's really important to keep track of the timing on it. Did I cover what you want?
Yeah, I think that covers.
The 45 days is April 23rd, right?
That's how we counted it. Correct. There's a lot of things happening between now.
I know.
And the secretary has been notified as we're required. We have let Secretary Padilla know that there is a vacancy.
So questions just on that so far. Do you have any more questions on it, or questions over here, things that? So all of this has to be done in an open meeting, every part of this as we go forward. So if we conduct interviews, those interviews will be in a public meeting. Nothing is going to be executive session or anything like that. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind as we talk about that.
Open meeting Madam President, in the Open Meetings Act, it does allow the board to close meetings for certain purposes. The thing that's closest to this is talking about an individual employee, but this is not an employee. This is a public officer. And so there is not an opportunity to close the meeting to discuss that. It needs to be done. Interviews, if you do them, needs to be in a public meeting. Deliberations need to be in a public meeting, and action needs to be taken in a public meeting.
So before we go into discussion, anything else, Lauren, from you that you feel like we should talk about? Or Wyndham, anything else? And then Dr. Cleveland, do you want to add anything? And then we can
Just that we've done it twice.
Yeah.
And there were two different approaches the board took at that time. The first one, the board made a decision to ask a former board member who had the experience, and that's what they were looking for. And they simply went out and asked that individual because they wanted someone who understood how the board operated the district and so forth. The second time that it occurred, the board made a different decision, and that was to post it and to interview candidates. And so they've used two different approaches, and both times we were able to find a successful candidate. So that's really the option. Board can appoint, the board can post an interview.
Okay. So with that, we can go to discussions. I feel that I don't think any of us have one person necessarily in mind that we can discuss, but maybe you do if you feel like you already have someone and you feel like there's someone we could appoint. So for that reason, we actually have our next item is to consider interviews, because I think that's kind of just what we're looking like, if I'm correct. Yeah. So if everyone could actually, I don't know, if you have your computers, if you can go into your business folder, and it's up there, but it's a little easier to see in your folder, you can take a look at the draft of the letter that we put together. Okay, Seth, what were you saying in there? So you were looking at that last paragraph on here. Or not.
No offense to JC, because we love her to death, but
I don't think she drafted this.
the last line of that says that you could contact JC Oliver, the board secretary, and I don't think she wants to have that title.
I know that is confusing, I guess. She is in a way but it is kind of a funny, I don't know the right way to.
I'm not sure this is the latest version, actually.
Okay.
It's the latest draft version.
Okay.
I just thought, because we just voted to elect Rebecca, right? It's a little confusing.
Yeah, no,
for
it's not the
public
correct.
to-
Board secretary.
Yeah.
You live in District 4, JC?
JC is the secretary for the board, I guess.
Yeah.
We could clarify that.
Okay. Yeah. If we could clarify that, that would be good. So maybe take a look at it. There's some things in here that I think it's important for us to look at. So this is what's eligible, right? You have to be a registered voter. You have to be at least 18 years of age, obviously, to be a registered voter, right? And you have to physically reside within District 4, if that makes sense. So it's within that district. And that district is pretty small, but there's just a lot of homes really that are in that space, which is why it's small geographically. I think the only school that actually is physically in that district is Lincoln Middle School. So how do you guys feel about what is in this letter? And do you see anything else that we might need to fix in there as we look through?
I see two things. I'm not trying to usurp the board's comments, but
No,
I see
you're
two
good.
things. One, we had talked about what they should provide. And this draft has a letter of interest and a copy of their voter registration information. The board could ask for more than that. They could ask for a resume or something else if that's what they wanted to do. The other thing that I think is in a newer version of this draft, and I apologize that this is not the current one, is that the deadline, the staff would propose that it be at noon on March 27th. Just because of the timing that would need to be in place in order to interview them to meet the deadline. If we had them by noon on the 27th, which is the day before spring break begins, we might be able to sort through that stuff and start making plans to schedule interviews. the week that the board comes, the week that the school board, the week that the schools are back from spring break.
Yeah, it's important to understand. So that is the hard thing with this, is that the district office, along with all our schools, we close for spring break. And so we have to be able to get all those materials in. And that way too, JC can upload them for us so that we can look at, and then we'll have a week to kind of look at any of those materials that are given. So, but it does put us in, and I'm making it even harder. And that's what, and we'll talk about that next as we go into interviews, is that I have to go out of town for a work trip in the middle of this as well. So I just thought I would make it harder for everyone to, as we move ahead with this. Anything else? Questions, comments, things in the thing
I
that,
think it makes a lot of sense to have a note of like relevant experience and expertise that would be
Yeah, I
lent.
think we should have a resume or like your back, like a letter of interest is like, I want to serve on the board. And then here's a copy of my voter card.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I know we were having that conversation. I can't remember exactly what we were talking about. Lauren and I were going back and forth on this letter of interest in the.
I think what actually the most recent draft was, and again, I apologize. I think it said a letter of interest and maybe qualifications or why you think you would be the best person to be appointed. Obviously, it could say more than that. Whatever the board decides, we could insert that if this is the direction you want to go.
I don't think it has to be a rigorous resume, but something like outline of relevant experience or something like that.
That was required last time, and in addition, the board did come up with a criteria of some of the things that it was looking for in candidate. I don't know if we can find that, but I think we can, or I think we can remember it. So, but they use that primarily through the actual, just the interview process of some things that they were looking for, and kind of a checklist that helped them with their discussions later.
So do we want to put resumes? We really need to pass this with that 45-day thing. So we need to get this done today. So do you want to put resume? Do you want that actual specific word to have a resume in there with that?
I would just say details of relevant experience or something.
Details of relevant experience.
Or whatever precise language. I think resume just seems a little
Yeah.
stringent.
Okay.
But I would take suggestions if you had.
So maybe leave one, a letter of interest, to details about relevant experience.
Right, something.
And then 3, your voter registration, because they need to be a registered voter in District 4.
Yeah, relevant experience or why you want to serve. Because I'm not going to lie to you, if you went through my resume for emergency management, you probably wouldn't pick me for a school board.
Yeah, hopefully that would be captured in the letter of interest somehow, but maybe you could change the language of letter of interest of like.
If we're just looking, because in my background, unless you go like to the last page where it lists all of my volunteer or community experience, my resume is not going to tell you how involved I am in the community, just why I think I should serve on the board and why you should vote for me, right, initially.
Seth, do you feel like with what you're saying that the vocabulary here of letter of interest like fulfills that, or do you think it needs to be?
I think so, like a letter of interest, and then like what makes you think you're qualified for the board, or like why do you want to serve, something like that, where you're kind of asking them like, why are you doing this? Like, not like we don't get paid. We can put that in there. It's not.
It's an unpaid position.
So maybe you could phrase it, what qualifications do you bring to the board?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, like
including, and give them some ideas. Of
Yeah,
maybe
some skills or attributes. What are you bringing to the board?
Yeah. Oh.
I would suggest if the board wants to move in this direction, that perhaps I've taken notes.
Do we need to approve the letter tonight, or can we just approve for you guys to move forward with it and then?
I would suggest that you
Capture a vibe,
approve it with the president to give the final approval for any tweaks, because we'll try to capture the notes.
So on you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. I think if we can capture the notes, are you guys okay with that? Because we really do need to move ahead. So it'd be nice to get our vibe and wait, but we are 45 days. So if we feel like
whatever you think's fastest, if we want to just say right now, those.
Is everyone, let me ask first, everyone is comfortable with going for interviews, right? And comfortable with sending out this letter, okay? And the letter overall is good. Now we're just trying to capture that middle piece.
Yeah, so I would say I make a motion, we move forward with the letter, change it to noon on the 27th, and then the final say is approved by the president.
I do have one quick question. What's the reasoning behind mailed or hand delivered? Can't email it.
We could have that too.
Is there a reason why we don't want electronically done?
I think we just use this off of one that we've done before. So where is that in here?
It's next to the last line, right ahead of your where to drop it off.
Mailed or
Application materials
Oh.
must be mailed or hand delivered to.
Can we have that electronic too? Okay.
If that's okay with everyone.
I think initially they didn't, because then your email's out for everybody to send stuff to.
Well, they would still just send it. We'd put it to,
We would add an email address.
yeah. So it wouldn't necessarily come to me.
That's okay with Amanda.
We could even come up with a
Yeah,
generic one.
we can do a generic one and then it would come in.
um,
So
at noon, and maybe say the materials must be mailed or hand delivered to arrive no later than noon on March 27th.
Yeah.
And then we can add any.
Yeah, because they go to the post office Friday morning.
So I currently have a motion. Does anyone want to second that motion? I think we're in good shape.
Board Member Murray, second.
So motion is second. And then all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. So we can continue. Anything else that you see in there that, I think we're in pretty good shape, I think, with those changes, and then we can talk a little bit more about it.
We'll get that finalized and out tomorrow at the latest.
Okay, yeah.
We had Wyndham up here just in case you wanted to talk about methods of advertising.
Yeah, let's take a second with that and just discuss it really quick and what we're looking at for that.
Good evening, Madam President, Dr. Cleveland, members of the board. There are several ways that we can go about kind of casting the net for this. If I can interject myself here, I would cast as wide a net as possible. There are possible ways to sort of geofence just District 4 and advertise to people just in District 4. But with the time limit that we have with this, I don't necessarily think that's a wise decision, for lack of a better term. So what I'm thinking for at least this letter is just sending it out to the community at large, specifying specifically what District 4 is, the boundaries in it, and then inviting anybody in that district to apply. We also have a press release that we can send out to local media partners and get the word out that way. And of course, social media, website, all of the normal avenues. But of course, we're open to any sort of suggestion.
Yeah, and we can send that link to the map, right? That's like shows that
Yes,
Google
yeah,
map
absolutely.
that specifically shows where it's at. So I'm assuming that we're going to email it, blast it out. So it's going out in a press release. We're going to stick it up on our website. It's going to be up on social media as well. Anything that I'm not thinking, it'll be.
We could explore paid advertising if that's something that you'd like to. Again, I'm not sure if that's.
I feel like all those avenues I think would be sufficient. And then plus I'm sure that there's already been media coverage as well. So people are going to look at our page, I'm sure, to look at those things. Questions as far as media or just
Can you do the school alerts to Lincoln Middle School and the feeder schools to it to let those parents know? And then they have family or friends, maybe they'll have.
That would be a way to more.
I know, like Puesta, Maggie, and Joe Harris and Martin Luther, Rio Rancho, they're not in that district, but they feed over.
Yeah. So the thinking behind casting kind of a wider net is that Lincoln is the only school in that district. So
No, I think both, like, do what you're doing, but then kind of target because there might be parents or family or friends of parents that has expressed interest before and they just don't know that it's coming.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And as we get the applications, do we have to wait until the 27th or after spring break before we can start looking at them? Or as we get them, can you send them to us to look at? I know we can't discuss it because then you have a rolling quorum, but.
I don't think there would be any reason why we couldn't create a folder.
Because then when we do meet, we'd be more informed, like we're not looking at it for the first time. We're been more informed on whoever the candidates are.
Yeah, I think we could do that. And just like you said, though, to make sure that we're complying with open meetings act, we shouldn't.
No discussions.
Yeah, we can't talk, yeah. Because more than two of us, it's a rolling quorum. And
Yeah. So we'll have to wait until we're in the boardroom. But yeah, as those come in, I'm sure we can get a Google folder. Yeah. Anything else for any side of
Real
this?
quick, in the process of this, suppose we get 15 applicants. Is there a way in our way we describe how we're going to go forward on this meeting, these meetings that we can, winnow down so we're not having to interview 20? Can we just, pull out 5, discuss 5, and then interview 5? Something, I don't know the numbers exactly. I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah. And just for, yeah.
That's why I was mentioning, have a set of criteria that you're looking for. And that's exactly what was done last time. So they took all of the ones that came in, saw which ones came closest to the criteria that they had set in terms of what they were looking for a member of the board. And then I believe they did interview 5. I can't remember for sure.
I think it was 5 that I remember seeing historically, and I don't know how many actually put in. I kind of assumed that it was just the 5, but
I think they interviewed all the people who applied, showed up.
So there was 5. How many run unopposed? It's
No, I expect that
Yeah.
it will be
so it's
I
different
was gonna
because
say,
people
my-
don't have to run. So there are going to be people who are
very
like,
eventually
oh,
slower.
this is nice. I don't, and so it's a little bit of a different thing. But if we feel like we need to put more criteria, if you feel, then we can do that. We can definitely do that. So is there anything else that you would add to that? And we could even hold a special meeting just to say, we want to just discuss who we are going to interview. So we could do, and it wouldn't even be, I don't think it'd be a very long meeting, but we could sit down after we've had those materials and just say, hey, we want to just sit down and discuss if we can bring this down to 5 people.
I like that.
Yes.
That sounds
So, because you're right, I yes, as much as I love Dr. Dodd having tons of interviews, we just did that for superintendent, and
If we
it's a
get
lot.
5, then we have 5. It's not a big deal. But if we get more than that, then
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
can be onerous to.
Okay.
Well, and maybe you don't really down to a specific number until you see, because what if you had, 6 that you thought were really wonderful?
Mhm.
You really wanted to talk. So I don't know if you would really want to set an arbitrary number.
No, yeah, exactly.
Maybe wait until you see how
That's
many you have and how close they are.
Okay. Well, on that note, so I think we can go into our next portion then, because it encapsulates all of this, to consider establishing a date for candidate interviews. So now if you would open up your calendars that you have, your own personal calendars, this is going to take a second, possibly. So we're looking at, let me open up my calendar.
would the interviews be during the day or regular board meeting in the evening?
I think we were looking at like a 4 o'clock sort of thing, just because a lot of us do work and it's not always easy. And we're looking at possibly 2 days, possibly a 3rd day if we need it. So what I'm looking at, I'm going to go over to this week. So I'm traveling for work the 13th through the 16th. So we're looking at that week right after we get back from spring break. We thought the Monday, because everyone's just getting back in, that we probably shouldn't hold it on a Monday, just to give the district staff some space to get all the things back together that they need. So we've been looking at the 7th, 8th, and 9th, somewhere in there. If we do early on the Wednesday, that would be okay. My son's 18th birthday, so I'm also trying to be sensitive to him, but he's probably going to be helping out at track meet that day. So I just realized. So, and he loves me for 18 years, so I'm sure we'll be very flexible if we need to use that day. But we could even look at those. It's just a lot of days. What we could look at is like on the 7th is that we decide. I'm trying to think of the right way to do this, is we would decide who we want to interview on the 7th.
If you want to whittle it.
If we want to whittle it down. But the hard thing is we're not going to know until.
So we could put it on the calendar. The 7th would be our whittle date. If we don't have to do any whittling, then the 8th would be the meeting to do it. Or the 9th.
Yeah. What if on the 27th, we had a short meeting?
Do that.
It's a Friday, which is horrible to do to all people.
It's the Friday before spring break.
It's the Friday before spring break.
I will not be here. I'll be up in
will not be
Denver.
up. And you
So,
won't be here either.
yeah, so that's not doable.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm just trying to think of a way to.
Well, you could meet on the 6th or 7th. And then, but you'll also have to provide, sorry, Madam President, some time for people to be scheduled for interviews. So that's the challenge. This is a very tight time frame.
It is.
So I think if we pick 3 days or 2 days, like the 7th and the 9th, because we don't want to mess up Junior's birthday.
Well, like I said, I think he'll be fine. He'll live.
I don't know if his name's Junior or not, but
No.
Does he live in District 4?
he's going to be
He'll
18. Register and go
We'll come over
down. Is that nepotism? No. I think you would pick the 7th as a whittle date, and then the 9th would be the day that we're going to do interviews or discussion to appoint. And then that way, that would be part of your release, is that the application, all of your paperwork, interest, skills, attributes, whatever you're turning in, has to be by noon on the 27th. And the board will bring it to a manageable number on the 7th if needed. If not, either way, that April the 9th will be the day that you need to be available to interview. And if we have your name on a list and you're not here, then you're off the list. We're not going to appoint you without talking to you, would be my.
Yeah. Why don't we just can we just block out for us those 3 days? I know he'll be fine. But if we just have, so I think the 7th, I think you're right. I'm just worried if we end up with 6 interviews, doing them all in one day, we're going to lose.
Right. Yeah.
So
I'm open all 3 of those if we want to just block them off.
7th, 8th, and 9th.
So I guess my question is can you guys be here at 4, or do we need to move it later? Because it's a little bit, that's a little bit tricky with jobs.
If we do 3 days in a row, 4:30 would be a little bit easier.
4:30?
Yeah, I agree. If it's 4 every day, that means I have to leave work at 30.
Okay.
Traffic, so.
Okay. Is 4:30 going to work?
Yeah,
4:30 though, because I don't want, you guys, we all have full-time jobs here. So if we need to.
Yeah, I think 4:30 would be easier than 4 if we ended up doing all 3 days, it'd be a lot easier to do 4:30 all 3 days.
So we can do that 4:30. I think that meeting on the 7th will be, in my mind, it's not going to be a very long meeting. I don't think, but it might take us I don't know.
I think it would be short.
Yeah.
Relatively short, and it might be unnecessary.
Yeah.
And then we'll notice meetings on the 8th and 9th to interview prospective.
Can that be part of the marketing that we say these are going to be the days that interviews happening?
We should probably fit that in.
Yeah, that would be good. That one on the 9th, I do want to prepare you for, is that one on the 9th will probably, so the 7th is going to be pretty short. The 9th is going to be pretty long possibly, because that will be our time to deliberate about what we want to do. So after we do our interviews, we'll still be in a public meeting, but we'll have that opportunity to then talk, and we'll want to make that decision on the 9th, just to fit in our timing. And
Once the interviews are done, deliberate and appoint.
Yeah. Worst comes to worst, we do have some wiggle room in there. So we have until the 23rd, so we could do another meeting, but that would be the best thing if we could do that on the 9th, if that makes sense. But it does give us some space if we need to take some more time.
So would their first board meeting be that Monday the 13th or the 27th?
If we got them in, and it would be the 27th would be their first. Oh, I guess no, they could come on the 13th.
As soon as they're appointed and sworn in, they're on the board.
Yeah, so if
You would have
appoint
to
them-
tentatively have
we swear them in.
Judge Cook or McDonald, somebody on.
I'm trying to give Seth
standby.
all of the hard stuff to do while I'm gone on that meeting.
Oh, that's it. I'm in.
You're going to be the
I'm
man.
running that meeting. What?
Yeah, you will
I'm
be
sick.
the man on that meeting, and it will be our our new superintendent's first
Oh, well, let's make it a party, man.
I talked to my boss and I was like, if we could really have this meeting on this day, so I could just give it all to the board to do, that would be great. No, I am sorry
Yeah,
that I
so
won't be.
I would just, if we end up doing that, then we'd tentatively reach out to the judge or whomever on standby that they're going to need to come swear somebody in, and we'll make it.
That would be good too. Okay, so we are looking at, the date for interviews we're really looking at the 8th and the 9th for the actual interviews, correct?
Yeah.
And we'll have the 7th. So as far as our motion we're looking at those days, right? The 8th and the 9th. So any other comments, questions, or we can just,
Do we need a motion to pick the dates?
we do, because it says to consider establishing a date. Yeah.
I will motion for the 7th, 8th, and 9th. The 7th to do whittling of, I don't know what that is. What's the legal term?
Reviewing applications.
The reviewing of applications and then interviews and selection to happen during the 8th and 9th. Selection on the 9th.
Board Member Barry, second. If you want to.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. And
Okay, did I say April?
In April.
of April,
Of April.
of April. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Whew. Okay, what are we missing? Anything that we're missing on this? Anything else that we need to discuss with this? I think we're in good shape then. Okay, so we'll move ahead. Dr. Cleveland, anything last on this with everything? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I thank you to the district staff as these things come up. You know, we just have to do it in this meeting, but they have to do all the behind the scenes work. And so thank you so much for being able to do that. So, okay, advanced planning. We have an audit committee meeting coming up, as well as a special board meeting on the 16th. We have a special work session on the 23rd and a regular board meeting that day as well. I want you to know as we go forward, we don't always have all of these extra meetings. We're trying to get everyone kind of caught up on a lot of the reports and those things as you're coming onto the board. We also have that region meeting in grants, which I believe we're all registered for. Any questions on anything that's upcoming?
I think March 19th, we have training too.
We do.
It's the Open Meetings Act, IPRA trade for new board members.
Oh, okay.
At the state law on Masthead.
Okay, so on March 19th, does everyone know about this? Okay,
Yeah, it's from like 9 to 2. It's an all day.
okay. And it's just for new board members?
That's what I think.
that
That's
correct?
what the email said. It was new for.
This isn't with our other,
It's to go over the OMA and IPRA requirements. So if you have never been on a board before, you understand why we have all these crazy rules in New Mexico.
Madam President, the board has a policy that says certain people have to take inspection of public records act training. Can't remember if it's 60 days or 90 days of when they are appointed or hired. And so the new board members will need to complete that if that's possible. If they can't do it that time, we'll push to do it at the next
I won't be there.
possible time.
Okay.
So
Unless they do it from Mexico.
okay.
And typically they do it virtually. This time they're saying they're not doing it virtually. It has to be in person.
Okay.
So sorry for the inconvenience.
So we'll have to work with you and find another date so that we can comply with that.
I also have to attend that as well.
Okay. Okay. So if you have any other questions, just let everyone know. And anything else? All right, our meeting's adjourned for tonight. Thank you, everyone. Oh, I have a whole bunch of stuff to sign.